Did Denver lurch to the left on Election Day or swing to the center? The governor quietly dropped some vetoes with all eyes on the election results, including an affordable housing bill. The Boulder County Sheriff's Office preparing to reveal the cause of the Marshall fire. We'll look at the pretty good idea we have so far. And it's like Christmas for Nuggets fans.
It's just building a sense of community.
30 minutes to game time, just enough time for next. The votes are in, they are counted. Denver has a new mayor, fresh look city council. So let's us look at whether voters move Denver to the left politically or toward the center. Depends on your perspective. So from a center-right perspective, Mayor-elect Mike Johnston's only marginally more progressive than outgoing Mayor Michael Hancock. Johnston's a backer of law enforcement and business interests. And from that perspective, Denver's best-known Democratic socialist, Councilwoman Candy C. DeBaca, longtime opponent, lost, as did most of the Democratic socialists running for Denver City Council. Now the view from the left. Johnston won with a progressive coalition that's going to be looking to hold him to some of those progressive promises. And Democratic socialists are actually picking up one seat on city council. Chantel Lewis is currently squeaking out a win to represent Northeast Denver. And the Working Families Party notes that it has 4 candidates on council, making it what the Working Families Party calls the most progressive council in Denver history. So Mayor-elect Mike Johnston comes into office carrying the weight of an ambitious pledge to end homelessness in 4 years. Johnston's campaign bragged about all their specific plans, including details on how to pay for them. That includes $35 million for 1,400 tiny homes. Politics guy Marshall Zellinger spent his day trying to balance the mayor-elect's checkbook.
Following through on campaign promises, like Mayor-elect Mike Johnston will have to do, requires money, which he was transparent about after his victory.
That's why we worked really hard when no one else did to say, we're going to build out a comprehensive white paper on every single policy we roll out. We're going to put a comprehensive budget out for everything we roll out. We're going to say exactly how much it's going to cost and where the money's going to come from.
His campaign website laid out the plans for several policy initiatives and where the money would come from to follow through.
That means when we're talking about a plan to get 1,400 people who are unhoused into housing, you know that's not a letter to Santa Claus. That's actually a real plan with a real budget.
Let's look at that plan to get people housed. Johnston wants to build tiny homes, and he estimates the cost at $35 million. Where does it come from? According to his plan, it's from Denver's portion of $138 million in one-time federal stimulus funding. But that money is not automatic. The $138 million is from a grant program run by the state. There is no Denver portion. And if Johnston wants $35 million for tiny homes, the city of Denver, just like any other city or county, will have to apply to get it. Johnston wants to hire 200 more clinical professionals, EMTs, and police officers. A closer look at the funding shows the bulk of the money comes from saving on overtime. That means it relies on more officers being hired so the city can stop spending so much on overtime for the officers filling other shifts. On his climate plan, he wants more people using RTD. The cost he has identified is $10 million, none of it from the city. The $10 million would be from convincing businesses to buy eco-passes for their employees to use RTD instead of driving. Several other policy initiatives call for money from philanthropy. I said it. Meaning private donors or charity. Some after-school programs for kids already have some donated money currently, and Johnston's campaign staff told me he's going to try to get more contributions. Johnston also wants to provide 20 to 30 units of free housing for artists in residence using donated money or donated land. The plan is there, Kyle, but in some of the line items, the money isn't there yet.
Credit where credit is due. He's more specific than a lot of people who run for office, which allows us to hold him to account in a way that we can't hold others to account. But it sounds like you're saying that we could hear, well, hey, I held up my end of the bargain as mayor. It's these other funders or these other private partners that didn't come through.
Right. And I mean, it's either that or then you have to figure out where in the city budget can that money come from. But if some of these promises call from money from donors and that doesn't happen, then what? Then we ask more questions.
Great job saying philanthropy on live TV. When that word goes wrong, it can go wrong really badly for us. All right, Marshall, thank you. Mayor-elect Mike Johnston is taking office promising to do what no major American city has done, end homelessness. If Johnston succeeds on that goal alone, and he has many more ambitious agenda items, if he ends homelessness, Johnston deserves serious consideration for any office in America, and I mean any office. Although we should note, he has made another promise to you, that he will not leave office early to run for governor in 2026. Now, if Johnston doesn't deliver on his promises, then voters deserve better than just the, oh, we got a good enough incumbent thing. If Johnston doesn't deliver, voters deserve a strong challenger, a credible challenger 4 years from now. The stakes are high for the incoming mayor, but more so for everyone who lives in this city and everyone in Colorado who cares about Denver's future. There's a little news dump from Democratic Governor Jared Polis last night, just as the election results came out. Handful of vetoes. Doop. Governor rejected a bill to give local governments priority in buying certain residential buildings that are up for sale, so long as they were matching private market offers and that they were going to use the buildings for affordable housing. The governor said he was concerned about how that might impact the housing market. Polis also vetoed a bill cracking down on deceptive practices by companies selling event tickets. Polis cited concerns from some national consumer groups who said that that bill would give large companies like Ticketmaster too much power. Two other Polis vetoes on election night. One kills a bill that would change penalties for officials who violate open meetings laws. Another veto rejects a bill for a task force to study the cost of drug enforcement. You know, Mother Nature lately has kind of been like the mother of teenage boys, requiring daily showers of us, whether we want them or not. Rain came and hail as well, south and west of Denver this evening. It was pea-sized stuff, along with the rain in Golden and Arvada. As we do anytime we're getting heavy rain on the Front Range, we're watching flooding along burn scars. The Cameron Peak burn scar up in Larimer County got dumped on today, and it was under a flash flood warning that expires 10 minutes from now. Extra underbrush growth from the recent rain up there has added some stability to the soil, but not enough to knock down the elevated flood chances. Danielle has been keeping track of all this. Active day yesterday, active day today. And just a reminder that anytime we see the heavy rain that makes us go, ooh, ah, out the window in the wrong spots, that's deadly danger for folks.
Absolutely. And again, all eyes are going to be up to the foothills through the mountains where we have the best shot at seeing that flash flooding. Across our burn scars, that's going to be the biggest risk today. These thunderstorms are incredibly slow moving. They're also coming our way from the southeast, tracking up to the northwest. Kind of an interesting dynamic in a way that the storms usually don't come in this way. Across Fort Collins and beyond, darker skies. We had some nice rain showers around Boulder. Still a pretty active afternoon across the northern Front Range, off to the eastern side of the state too. Looking at a few stronger cells out there. There's that flash flood warning we were talking about in Larimer County for the Cameron Peak burn scar. A little bit of snowfall, believe it or not, along those higher peaks. Again, looks like the showers are starting to fizzle out a bit, so some good news. However, the flash flood watch is going to remain in effect until 9 o'clock, so still about another 3 hours away. This is going to include the high country areas and then stretch all the way down south toward southern Colorado. Heavy rains, slow moving thunderstorms. That's the name of the game today. What in the world does tomorrow bring our way? Kyle, I'll have the answers coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right. Thank you, Danielle. So it's been almost a year and a half since the Marshall fire. Year and a half for families there in Boulder County rebuilding while they waited for solid answers about the cause of the fire. Those answers should come tomorrow. Boulder County leaders say that they will be sharing the findings of their investigation into the fire at a press conference tomorrow. The fire started December 30th, 2021, pushed by extremely high winds that day. It would go on to destroy more than 1,000 homes and kill 2 people. Here's what we know about the origin of the fire so far. Former Boulder County Sheriff Joe Pelly said in December that the fire likely had more than one ignition point that day. Investigators have looked at a few ideas. There was the religious group, 12 tribes, burning trash on their property. There's an issue with power lines sparking near Marshall Road, even though Excel says none of its lines came down on that day. And there's also an underground coal mine fire that has been smoldering below the soil for decades, and it has started surface fires in the past. The current sheriff, who replaced Pelly, has not commented on the investigation. We expect to hear from him for the first time tomorrow at 10 in the morning. We will carry those statements live here on 9 News. It's going to be a busy summer for a nonprofit that preserves historic places across Colorado, while at the same time training volunteers for careers in the trades. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports HistoriCorps as they protect Colorado history and prepare our neighbors for future careers. If you hike to the Devil's Head Fire Lookout Tower in Pike San Isabel National Forest, and I highly recommend that hike, it's a very popular one, you can see up close the restoration work done by HistoriCorps volunteers. They have worked to preserve old mining camps and schoolhouses, homesteads, and park buildings all over our state. If HistoriCorps kind of reminds you of the Depression-era Civilian Conservation Corps, it's a somewhat similar program. And the buildings being preserved, some of them, were first built in the 1930s and 40s by the CCC. HistoriCorps is additionally looking to build a sense of community, that this history on public lands, the places we can all visit, belongs to all of us. that we can all have a role in its preservation. And the nonprofit is looking to build specific marketable skills in the trades for the volunteers who come out to work on its projects as well. This summer, they'll be working in Denver, up near Aspen, in some of the foothill forests, and in northern Colorado as well. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get the link to donate. As always, I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us started. This is our chance to help rebuild Colorado history in places that we can all go visit. Visit with the knowledge that the people who worked on the project also got a head start on their career in the building trades. We always watch the snow melt that's feeding Colorado's reservoirs, but what about the rest of it? Scientists are trying to track every drop. And the nuggets might be on the road, but for this guy, his fandom is all about home. Next. Colorado's above-average snowpack this year is wonderful water to fill our reservoirs and knock down our drought. Though scientists tell our Brian Wendland, snowpack numbers can be deceiving because not all that snow makes it into our water supply.
If you can get to Gothic when the mountains are snowpacked.
It's a lot of work, honestly. We're pulling sleds. A lot of sweat's been lost on this road.
All that sweat is worth it.
Couldn't be better if you look around you and realize both how amazing the scenery is here and as well as how important the work is that we're doing.
For scientists like Heist de Boer, the views are the cherry on top of some extremely important research.
So today we're standing next to an atmospheric surface flux station that is meant to measure all the different terms of the surface energy budget.
It's like your budget, except instead of money coming in and out of your wallet, he's researching energy transferring between the surface and the atmosphere. His team wants to know what happens to snow that falls but never makes it into a river. Figuring that out will make it easier to predict how much snow will make it into the water supply.
Making detailed measurements of the sorts of drivers of snowpack growth and melt over the course of the year.
They're studying how dust accelerates snowmelt and trying to learn how much of the snowpack is sublimating,
which is kind of the snow equivalent of evaporating. And that's important because if snow is sublimating, it's going back into the atmosphere rather than into the rivers.
This is the last of de Boer's 2-year project. In year 1, they worked through a drought.
2 weeks ago last year, in the same exact spot, we had little patches of snow around.
This year has seen close to record snowfall in some parts of the state.
So we saw the melt processes happening, they just happened, the timing was different.
And that timing can have a big impact downstream.
So for water managers, that's important because they might get a big influx of water when they weren't necessarily anticipating that they would get one.
It'll take some time to dig through the data and publish results that could help those water managers in the future. But one thing de Boer already knows is one good year of snowfall doesn't mean the Colorado River Basin is back to normal.
Yes, it's a good year. We like to have good years, and there will be an impact, but I think it'd be foolish to think that this will solve all of our water problems.
For Next, I'm Brian Wendland.
Yeah, Neil Grant, I feel like we can't stress that enough. People are going to be like, well, why are we back in drought? Didn't it rain last May,
Yep, absolutely. And we once again are going to be looking at more rain on deck for us. All good news, but we get a slew of really dry days, and that helps to erase all this moisture that has come through. A little bit of snowfall this afternoon through this evening up in the mountains, too. Kind of see those stormy skies to our north, the top Lookout Mountain. As we go throughout the rest of this evening, I will be monitoring more storms around parts of the metro area. This is about 7 o'clock or so. Most of those into northern Colorado. Can't rule out maybe 1 or 2 here in Denver, but nothing severe, thank goodness, right? 11 o'clock, things wind down here for the metro area. Tomorrow morning, you'll wake up to some sunshine. Temperatures a little cooler than today. And then by about 3, 4 o'clock, here we go again. More rain. And again, do you see that bullseye right near the Cameron Peak burn scar yet again? Again, the threat for flash flooding, that's going to continue for us tomorrow. By about 7 o'clock, that threat shifts off toward Weld County, and then everything zips up to the north. Tomorrow, temperatures staying in the mid-70s for us. Again, after about 2, 3 o'clock, we'll be tracking the chances for rain, thunderstorms, all the above coming our way. 80s off to the eastern plains, 50s, 60s up in the mountains. Storms stick around through the weekend. A pretty soggy day for us on Sunday, but 80 degrees, a dry day. Fingers crossed next Wednesday.
Since we've put this up, we've had people kind of crawling out of woodwork.
A Nuggets fan says his homemade tribute isn't just about his passion. It's about bringing fans together. That's next. Game 3 of the NBA Finals tips off tonight in Miami. If you flip over after next, you'll be there a few minutes ahead of tip-off. If you're an old school 9 News viewer, you may recognize the Nuggets fan who has the most recognizable Nuggets house in town.
This was my wife's idea. She planted all this vegetation, xeriscape. It was her idea to do something that would say, hey, we're a huge Nuggets fan. This is historic. Let's do something big. I am Graham Nissler. I'm a huge Nuggets fan. And unfortunately, I am a 50-year-old Aaron Gordon fanboy. We are looking at my homage to the Denver Nuggets. It's been an eternity. We haven't gone to the championship. Here we are. We chose to do 27-inch tall numbers, 27 Murray by 15 wide Joker. So that is actually the Denver Nuggets yellow and then their city blue. And that's KCP. We've got Jamal, we've got Joker, we've got MPJ, and my favorite, number 50, Eric Gordon. I can't tell you how many times people have pulled up to the house, gotten out, taken a picture, just to kind of meet the neighbors and really get a sense of, hey, we're in this together. Since we've put this up, we've had people kind of crawling out of the woodwork, Nuggets fans. Go Nuggets.
Oh, right on, man. We got this.
That's what it is right there. It's just building a sense of community. It's amazing. It's never happened, and you can feel the energy in the city. I just want to get people pumped up.
Nissler says if the Nuggets win it all, he'll leave the display up until after the parade. Have you been scratching your head trying to place the name, maybe the voice? Graham Nissler was our traffic guy on 9 News till about, I think, like 15 or 16 years ago, right about when I came on board here. We are back with your feedback and our work together to preserve historic places that are open to the public in Colorado. Next. The nonprofit HistoriCorps is about to kick off its summer work season. They preserve historic buildings on public lands across Colorado, really cool old stuff. And their mission is twofold: protect that history before it falls apart and train volunteers for careers in the building trades. This summer, they have projects up in Larimer County, in the Arapahoe-Roosevelt National Forest, and also in Denver. To join me in supporting their work through this week's Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign, scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491. You've proven that even $5 donations stack up. They're very appreciative for any help that you can give them. Volunteers who want to get involved as well. Feedback tonight from Heidi talking about the new mayor, saying, big promises on complex issues from a man with no experience in municipal government. I wonder if we'll hold him accountable for that promise in 4 years. Well, Heidi, as a voter, you get to hold him accountable 4 years from now. We as journalists will be holding him accountable in the interim. We absolutely will. Don says that is a dreadfully awful looking sport coat, but it looks good on you. Does it say go Nuggets? Loudly? See you next time.